Right now, you're looking at live pictures from Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris, the edifice that survived 9 centuries, World War. The Nazi occupation has been saved from the brink of total destruction tonight after a massive fire that began before 7 p.m. Paris time and raged well into the night. It's a devastating blow to an icon of Western civilization and a monument to religious faith for a millennium. It's a tragedy without yet a victim, however, but one that no one living today will forget. According to authorities, the fire may have been accidentally sparked by a renovation project in the spire of the landmark 12th century cathedral. Flames and smoke billowed into the sky from the upper reaches between its 2 iconic towers as the fire engulfed the roof. We're watching it there. After more than an hour, the flames overtook the soaring spire, bringing it crashing down. The French Defense Agency said dumping water on the building was not an option early on because it could cause the whole structure to collapse. French President Emmanuel Macron rushed to the scene and was treating the fire as a national emergency. He addressed the situation on Twitter, writing in English, "Notre Dame is aflame. Great emotion for the whole nation. Our thoughts go out to all Catholics and to the French people. Like all of my fellow citizens, I am sad to see this part of us burn tonight." As the fire raged into the night, only 1 firefighter was reported injured. Macron praised the firefighters for saving the cathedral's main towers and pledged the cathedral will be rebuilt.
I have a message for all Parisians. Notre Dame of Paris is their cathedral and much more. I also have a message for all citizens, because Notre Dame of Paris is our history, our literature, our imagination. The place where our big historical moments, plagues, wars, liberation, it is at the very heart of our lives. Over 800 years ago, we were able to erect this cathedral, and over the centuries, we have improved it. We have made it grown. So with pride, I tell you tonight that we will rebuild this cathedral all together.
I'm joined right now for more from Paris by NBC News Chief Foreign Correspondent Richard Engel, Jean-Pierre Cartier, U.S. correspondent for French broadcaster BFM, and joining me on the phone is Bishop Robert Barron of the Archdiocese of Los Angeles. Richard, do we know anything about the causes yet and what will be saved?
Not much about the causes, although the widespread speculation here is that it was caused by some of the renovation. For about a year, renovation works had been underway to try to reinforce the spire. Officials believe that is where the fire started, among the scaffolding by the fire. Then it spread to the roof. Ultimately, the spire collapsed. Also, the roof has been destroyed. There have been some pictures that have emerged from inside. It is not totally catastrophic. Some of the rose windows are still there, for example. Some of the artwork and the treasury has been saved. The organ, we are also told, has been saved. The structure, French officials say, of Notre Dame has been saved. It is still structurally sound as far as they know, but they have not been inside. They have not done all of the inspections necessary. While we've been here for the last several hours, they've been cooling off the building. They've been hosing it down. So now there is also some flooding inside. Macron came out and he said that this was a national emergency. He said tomorrow there will be a national fundraising campaign starting tomorrow to raise money to rebuild this. But I can tell you here in Paris tonight, there are a lot of blank stares. We've been walking through the streets. People have been singing hymns as the firefighters have been going by. People have been applauding them for their sacrifice. They had quite an emotional ride today. Not only did they see this cathedral, this icon of Paris, burning, spreading clouds of ash all across the city. Then at one stage, officials said that it looked like Notre Dame could not be saved, that they had to be prepared for the fact that the entire cathedral might be destroyed. And then just a few hours ago, they said that as far as they know, that the structure is sound. Many of the artworks were saved. The roof and the spire, however, were not.
Thank you much, Richard. Let me go to Jean Bernard. Thank you for you've been in this country a long time. You live next door to my brother-in-law and sister-in-law. Tell me about the significance to Parisians and the French of Notre Dame de Paris.
Listen, Notre Dame is the church in the middle of the village, this village of ours that we call France. We are a Catholic country. We are a country where history, culture, books, architecture is very, very important. And all of this is linked with Notre Dame. And not only history, geography. In my country, in France, all the distances are measured to and from this point in the country that is Notre Dame. It's like losing a dear member of our family. It is devastating.
So much of the history, I was thinking that Charles de Gaulle, when Paris was liberated by the Free French and the Allies, he went and had Mass there.
Yeah, there was a mass for the liberation. There was a mass for the attacks in 2015. There was even a mass for President Mitterrand, who was not a Catholic, but it's the center of the country, well beyond the Catholic faith.
Let me go to Bishop Barron, Bishop Barron, Your Excellency, thank you for joining us. You studied in France, so give us an American sense of Paris and this great cathedral, which has been spared, at least in its structural form.
I was actually very happy to hear that report from Richard Engel, that it's a little more optimistic than I had thought. It meant the world to me, that place. I studied in Paris for 3 years for my doctorate and went to Notre Dame pretty much every day my first year in France. It had a kind of mesmerizing impact on me, especially the rose windows. When I heard about this fire, my first thought was the roses, those roses that go back to the 13th century. The North Rose, I think, the finest rose window in the world. So that's what I was most fearful. I think the South Rose has been lost from what I was able to gather. But if the North Rose, at least in part's been saved, that would be great. It meant to me a connection to Europe. It meant a connection to the wider Western civilization, and it meant a connection to the ancient Christian church. I mean, I think of that building, Thomas Aquinas knew and knew those rose windows as the place was being constructed. Bonaventure knew it. I mean, all these great figures from the Catholic Middle Ages. When I was there, I used to give tours at Notre Dame for English-speaking tourists. And I used it as a chance to preach, because I was there as a priest, but I was studying full-time, so I wasn't saying Mass and preaching as often. So I would use the cathedral as kind of a visual aid to talk about the Christian faith. I've been using that way for the past 30 years. So it meant the world to me. It was a connection to that great spiritual power of the Catholic faith.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency. Thank you. I want to go back to Jean Bernard. It seems to me that I grew up like watching the movies my dad saw when he was a kid. Hunchback of Notre Dame, Victor Hugo, Charles Lawton, Maureen O'Hara. The idea of this incredible place that was like permanent.
Yeah, we cannot believe that it could be destroyed, that it could be frail, that it has any fragility. It is at the center of our country, of our life. We cannot believe this could be destroyed.
Well, it looks like it's going to make it. It looks like you have the greatest fundraising in history.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.